And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Saturday morning's flying weather shows some IFR with some light snow coming into the Bering Strait and on up toward Point Hope and Cape Lisburne. Another patch down here along the Yukon Delta coast. Otherwise, marginal VFR out here to the west. And the interior, lots of VFR remains, some IFR here over the Yukon Flats and then southward into the Copper River Basin, and some more IFR here just east of Kodiak Island. Then for the afternoon, big swath of IFR or VFR here through the interior, right on down to Kodiak Island, south central Alaska, even Bristol Bay, and all the southeast coast stays VFR. IFR here on the east side, and another batch here with the system as it weakens comes in, bringing some moisture with it. So IFR there from Kotzebue Sound all the way down in toward the Kuskokwim Mountains and then back out across Norton Sound there. And marginal VFR Aleutians, all of the Bering Sea, all the way up to the northwest coast. And then for the morning Sunday, another system here bringing more IFR in along the west coast. Otherwise, the Bering Sea, mostly marginal VFR, including the Aleutians. Good VFR here over all of interior Alaska from the Arctic coast southward to the Prince William Sound area. And now some marginal VFR in the increase here over the southeast coast, something of a change there. And then that burns off in the afternoon there to VFR flying conditions for the Panhandle. Good VFR here, southern Alaska. Marginal VFR all the way over toward the eastern border now as a big swath of moisture here comes into the west with widespread IFR now. Big change in the pattern here with high pressure retreating to the south. So IFR covering the northern and central Bering Sea, coming down there to the north shore of Unalaska Island, all the way up to the western slopes or the southern slopes of the western Brooks Range, and then some IFR off the central Arctic coast. And for passes tomorrow for Anaktuvik and Adigan, VFR for the day Saturday. Not definitely lower on Sunday though. And for Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR for rainy and windy as well. And then Isabel starting out IFR and hopefully some improvements into the afternoon coming back to VFR. And Mentasta, IFR to start, only improving to marginal VFR in the afternoon hours. And Tanita also could see some IFR in the morning, but then improving to VFR, Portage VFR, Chilkoot and White, another VFR day. And for the freezing levels here, 2,000 feet over the Gulf of Alaska and a portion of the southeast coast. Out to the west with southwest flow here and upper high pressure, we've got 8,000 feet over the far southwestern Bering Sea and now 2,000 feet pushing up all the way up to the Bering Strait and then straight south on that, so anywhere to the east here staying below 2,000 feet. And for icing, again, a pretty good surge of moisture coming in, bringing some considerable moderate rime icing into the southwest interior, crossing the Pribilof Islands but staying north of the Aleutians, and then lighter amounts up along the northwest coast across the Seward Peninsula. And could be some areas of isolated moderate icing here over toward the eastern border, as well as the southern panhandle. Looking at the jet stream here, we've got weakening upper high pressure over the Yukon, keeping easterly flow there over the southeast coast in the southern areas. And otherwise, this big ridge here over the Bering Sea, strong northwest jet here, 130 to 110 knots or so, anywhere from 110 to 130 knots, cutting across the west central interior, all the way down across the Alaska Peninsula there. And at 9,000 feet, northwest flow, anywhere from 45 to 50 knots here across the western part of the state, eastern Bering Sea areas. Lighter to the east and even lighter for the southeast coast. A little bit of an increase here over the southern panhandle, but not too bad for 9,000 feet. 3,000 feet, though, shows 45 knot winds here coming up into Dixon Entrance, Prince of Wales Island area. Otherwise, pretty light for the interior, Gulf of Alaska. And out west, that's where the strongest winds are coming over the top of this high that's starting to get beat down to the south a little bit there. 60 knot westerlies turn northwest and diminish to 40 knots, and then north 40 to 45 knots here from the Kuskokwim Delta coast across the Alaska Peninsula and eastern Aleutians. And with those winds, looking at considerable moderate turbulence here for Bristol Bay, mostly along the Aleutian Range, Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutian areas, around Cape Lisburne there, and then just to the west of Shimian at 2. Otherwise, not too bad elsewhere around the state.